Hello my friends and welcome back to another episode of MTD North America. As you can see, I'm at Tornos, their new 15,000 square foot building, and we're going to do a quick tour with Naiane about all of the machines that are in this beautiful new showroom. Real quick, real easy, quick summary, but thank you so much for being a part of MTD CNC North America.
Thank you, Tony. We thank you for being here and be part of our family now. So we're pleased to be able to show you our showroom. Today, actually, we do have a good setup. We have some machines being prepared for Turnkey to be shipped to new homes, to new customers. But today we are in the front actually of a GT26, which is one of our best sellers here in the North America specifically. We have a range of 13 millimeter capacity to 32 millimeter capacity. So we have the 13, 26, and 32 for this model. And we also have the possibility to have a B-axis for the 26 and the 32. So it's a 6X machines. We have 10,000 RPM on the main spindle as well as on the counter spindle. So that's actually the uniqueness of Tornos, because we really wanted to deliver the best capacity as well as production to our customers. So all our main spindle and counter spindle are one of the most powerful in the market. So we don't decrease it in the counter spindle. We always keep the same tolerance. And this is actually a very great machine that we have seen a good sold out for the medical industry, even general shops, electronics, hydraulics. So this is a very versatile machines that we're able to be able to offer to our customers.
Well, you mentioned to me that this is a 6-axis machine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of other people out there might call it an 8-axis machine, right?
Exactly. So that's actually very interesting. We had this conversation earlier. Tornos, we don't count, typically we don't count the C-axis, for example, and our kinematics. We typically count only the Z, the Y, the X, and so then we count these as a 6. We count for us and for our customers as 6X machines, where then we will see in a different model a little bit later on, the 5-axis machine. Again, we don't count the C, and we know that there are some that count as 7, but we don't count the C-axis. So we want to be transparent to our customers what they are buying.
As a quick review, if I'm looking at this particular machine, what industries am I working in? What kind of parts am I making? Why, if I'm watching right now, do I go, that's probably the machine I want to look at?
Exactly. That's a good point, Tony. We have seen a very versatile segment industry that has been very happy and successful with this machine. We have delivered this machine for a medical, for a dental. When we talk about the B-axis, we are have really outstanding response for the B-axis for abutments, for example, when we're talking about the dental market. Then we talk about hydraulics, then we talk about some nozzles. For example, we're talking about electronics, some pins, some parts specifically for the segments. So with this machine, you can certainly hit a home run because you are able to be very versatile. So maybe if you are a job shop, a general shop, you want to be able to be versatile and diverse with the parts, with the jobs that you're taking in. So the more diversification you have, we believe the more successful you will be. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we have a pretty monster machine over here. So let's go take a look at this one and describe what this one can do and what industries might be looking into a machine this size.
Absolutely. So this is actually our, we call our beast, because it's our 8-spindle machine with a 26 millimeters. So this is a multi-spindle 8x26. So we can do endless. We can really do from a simple part to a very complex machine. It can be a little bit more application driven. It can be more high volume, we have seen. So we have really been successful with this machine, from a medical company to aerospace, to electronics, to even hydraulics as mentioned, but it really very versatile as well. I think the differentiation of Tornos is because when you buy a machine, you are not necessarily only when we're talking about, like we mentioned, for a job shop, you never know where you're going to be in the years to come. So we want to make sure that we're able to build machines that can do the job and satisfy our customers for the less complex parts to the very high complex parts with a very small tolerance. So this is when the customer is ready to move from a single spindle to a multi-spindle, this is certainly a great machine to be considered because it can do wonderful production and parts for any customers in North America, as well as we see successful delivers and successful production throughout the world.
You mentioned this is a big machine and it's a beast, but also incredibly accurate.
Oh,
right? Now, when we think about big machines, oftentimes we think, well, I'm going to rough a part. I'm going to machine something hard and heavy. I'm going to take some larger diameter end mills to it, and I'm going to, get through that material, and that's going to be my roughing process. And then I'm going to put it on a finishing machine, maybe as a second operation. But in this circumstance, that's not the case. You have an incredibly high accuracy machine to go along with rigidity and power, right?
Absolutely. That's very important to see. A lot of the customers that we have been seeing is because they want to go away from the second operation, like you mentioned. They want to elevate the automation. And this is certainly a machine that you can pretty much collect and the ejector part, the collection space, and making your own inspection as a customer, clean up and ready to ship. So this is very important, and it depends on the application that we are driving into. You can have a part that we have been running this machine for 2-3 seconds per piece, as well as 30, 50, depends. It will really depends on the application, but certainly can decrease the time, decrease the amount of operations that nowadays they may be doing from a milling standpoint, from a drilling standpoint, where you can have all the work in one, in this case, not single machine, but multi-machine.
Well, knowing this machine, I am excited to learn even more about it. And I'm looking around the room here, and I see a lot of very similar colors. However, there's a color in the corner over here that looks a little bit different from everything else we're going to showcase today in your facility. Can you share a little bit more about what this machine is, and is it a partner of yours?
Yes, absolutely. So this is, it's an Escomatic machine. So Esco we represent in North America, it's a sister company, and this is different than all machines you're gonna find because this is a unique machine that is fed by coil and not by feeder, and we do have a lot of customers that come into Escomatic when they really need something with a high volume. We have seen a lot of jobs with a high volume, and also stay on the Swiss lathe. So this machine, it's built for the same kinematics, very similar as a Tornos per se. That is why we have a lot of similarities, and we do have a lot of successful stories here in North America, and the aerospace and the electronics. Now the last year was very big news regarding the 5G, for example. So make some pins specifically. This is a very special machine for that. And there's several models that we represent here. It's very quick. So sometimes you blink, the part's already coming. So, but it's a built machine from Esco for high volumes that we have been seeing in the market.
And where is this machine made?
Switzerland.
Also Switzerland,
Also
which makes
Switzerland.
a good partner for you guys.
Exactly.
And I gotta be honest, it's one of the first times I've seen a coil machine versus some other style, whether it be, vices and automation and robotics or bar feeder like you mentioned as well. I think that's pretty neat.
Exactly, it's unique. It's very different. There's not really a lot of competition out there, so the customers that have Esco also is a machine to build to last. We have several customers that has these machines for many years, and it's a very reliable machine. As a Tornos, I think it's a Swiss made, so we're built to last, and there is a reason why, right?
Yes, right. And I like that you said it's somewhat of a niche machine, but if you need it, you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's go on to some of your other machines around
Absolutely.
here.
Yes, we can talk a little bit about the GT, but I hear, Tony, that also we're going to have a very interesting and great chat with our senior application engineer, Mr. Serrano, Gonzalo Serrano. And this is a new machine that we launched into the market in North America in the last couple months. So it's a very new machine for North America with a 5-axis machine. So the differentiation and the very special features of this machine is that you have a very rigidity, so the way that we build to really sustain high tolerances and having the reliability during the production to our customers. But at the same time, we have modularity in this machine that it's for the, we call plug and play for the B-axis. What that means is that, let's say the customer purchased the machine for a 5-axis. He doesn't really necessarily need the position of the B-axis. But then he has maybe not so complex parts, and he buys this machine. And later on, he needs the capacity for a B-axis. And then he can just add an attachment. So it's to make the customers easy to have these differentiated, but at the same time to make them more able to have different type of machines without really having to change the whole machine. So that is the uniqueness of this 5-axis machine, GT26 by Tornos.
That's amazing. I love that you can plug and play some extra components based on what jobs are coming through. And the footprint looks nice and small, so I can add a lot of these to my shop without taking up too much real estate, which we know comes at a high premium these days.
Absolutely. And also thinking about the labor, right? We're talking about the industry, we're talking about the qualified. So instead of having maybe one operator for, you know, how can you consolidate in a space where you can control and have one operator to master several of this machine if it's needed at the same time. So this is something that we take also very serious regarding footprint, because we know that this can become an issue, and we care for that and thinking about our customers as well.
Beautiful. So let's take a look at a couple of these spaceships over here. I know they're the Nanos, right? They look
exactly
like they're spaceships.
Exactly. You know, this is a very interesting story about, I think we can open here a little bit so you can see. This machine is a very special machine, and a lot of people say this looks like a helicopter. Some think that is a coffee machine, and there are some good stories that we can talk in another time about how we developed this machine. But nowadays, we know that this machine is a masterpiece, and we take a lot of pride on it because we see some companies having this machine and really skyrocketing. It makes us proud. So this is we call that one, Tony, the beast, the Multispindle. Now we call this one the mini beast. And this is a 6X machine. And there is a lot of possibilities here, very powerful with the 16 RPM and the main spindle and the counter spindle. So, and this also giving opportunity for the customer to utilize a high frequency spindle if he needs. So that means, in other words, it's a very fast machine, right? Very fast machine with a very great, if not the most precise machine in the market. And as you can see, you almost cannot put in the pockets, but almost put in the pockets because of the space as well. So we have been very successful with this machine, and we have seen some customers, like I mentioned to you, having successful stories because you can elevate your production. We have seen some companies comparing to a competition to go over 75% in production. And that is very significant. So if the ROI doesn't mean anything, you know, on the production side, certainly it makes a differentiation, right? So if you put side by side. And what is also special for the operators is specifically how easy it is to have this machine to change the tools. Right? We actually had here last year some application tips and some videos that we literally show how to change, because when we're doing a change in the setup, we understand how important this is. And timing is money. So the quicker you can do the job, the better you will have the results. So, and also having the parts and the warm-up. right? So we have some studs, and also we had a lot of customers that gave us the feedback, which we're very grateful for, where comparing to another machine, let's say the warm-up, from the machine starting to the finished part, you can count between 5 to 10 minutes to have a first parts finish. And when maybe compared to other machines, you can be over an hour. So just the mathematics also makes sense. So when you added all these into the equation, it makes a difference. And that makes us proud to make sure that we are helping our customers to be successful. It's a very, very special machine. And we have a 4mm capacity, we have a 7mm capacity, and maybe soon some other news for the future. But we are in development, and we know that this is certainly a very successful machine as well.
Well, one question I have, it's really neat that you're able to put so many axes in such a small footprint and have this type of floor space where it can be utilized. So obviously I'm going to run small parts. That's the obvious part. But is there a limited or maximum batch size for something like this? Do I need to have 1 million parts I need to run? Or is a changeover so quick that I can run a few hundred and then change over and run a new job?
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good question. We have some customers that they run very low volume, because maybe some prototype, or maybe because some is specifically application driven that needs some special features, some special threads, or so on. And but also we have customers that it's running 24/7. And what is the beauty about is that you can do a good lights out, as they call, and make sure that you can check on the mobile, you can check on the cell, because we have a software that calls TISYS, and you can be able to manage this from your home. And if something goes on the shop, you can receive a notification, and you can control from there. So answering the questions, it can vary. It can be for the low volume. It can also be for the massive production.
So this can be for prototyping and for massive production.
Oh, absolutely.
And is this the only one that's connected to that app, or all Tornos machines have that capability to connect to that app?
All Tornos has the TISYS. The Evo Deco, for a lot of users that have the Deco family, and also the Multispindle is a TB Deco, but also be able to connect it from outside, so they can control. Don't need it to be in person necessarily, but they know what's happening with their machine. So this is a good feature that we want to make sure that supports the customers to have a more autonomous production while they are machining their parts.
Amazing. It seems like a no-brainer to me if I'm machining small parts.
So if you need really the top high precision quality, especially there is our let's say our heart on development because of the micromechanics, like we talked in the beginning about the watch industry, then you know that you can come to Tornos, that we will take care of you, Tony.
There's the answer, right? That high precision, high quality part. So it looks like we have one machine left, certainly not last. I mean, certainly last, but definitely not least. Would you like to go over a little bit of this one?
Yes, this is the same machine as we talked earlier about the 5-axis machine. Right now we're doing a turnkey and one machine ready to ship out. And I understood that Gonzalo will have a quick conversation, quick not necessarily, because you guys can go deep, and we're happy to have you here. But this is the 5-axis machine that we mentioned that we launched a couple months ago, and also giving a lot of opportunities and possibility to our customers. And quite an interest, this machine, we have the guy bushing. I don't know if this is open here. If it's not open, but Gonzalo will show you, about the guy bushing, that we also have a possibility to do a guy bushless without the guy bushing, and how quick it is to change. We have a specifically place there that you can put the guy bushing. You also have the active chip breaker plus with this machine. That means you can have a good chip management with this machine. We have a lot of fun features that I don't want to, let's say, give you some hints, but I'm sure you're going to have a good discussion with Gonzalo.
Absolutely, guys. Well, guys and gals, well, stay tuned. We'll go in more detail. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful tour of the new Tornos showroom. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.